Hey everyone, so this will be my somewhat comprehensive review of the Fluval Flex. I have the 9-gallon one, that is what you see in front of you here. Then there is also a 15-gallon one. Dimensions of the 9-gallon are 14 by 13 by 13. Dimensions of the 15-gallon one are 16 by 15 by 15. This one, again 9-gallon, has a 61 gallon per hour flow rate from the pump. The 15-gallon version has a 132 gallon per hour flow rate from the pump. This one has, I think it was like 7 watts, whereas the other one is somewhere about 9 watts from the light. And they are LEDs. Then this one, I cannot remember exactly how many LEDs they have in it, but it is somewhere around 36. And then the 15-gallon one has somewhere around 48. This one has 3 of the RGBs, LEDs, and then the 15, I believe, has 6 of the RGBs, red, green, blue lights, ones that do the other colors besides for white on them. So, of course, the 15-gallon one has a bit higher specs than the 9-gallon one does, and that's just, it makes sense because it is, of course, bigger. Bigger by 6 gallons, so it has to have all around bigger dimensions on everything. Now I will talk about the pump, my opinion of the pump a little bit later, as well as the lighting. I'll talk more in depth on both of those, my opinions on both of those. But now let's actually look at the tank itself. So of course that is the front of the tank. And then if you look from the side, you can see the very awesome curvature, if that is a word, the curviness of the tank. Very, very beautiful in my opinion. This is one of the best looking small tanks I have seen pretty much ever. Very, very beautiful tank. Then some people will not like this. I've heard complaints, but it has this, I don't know what you want to call that, but it has this, I just call it a mask. That what this is here for is it is supposed to make it to where you cannot see the water level. Personally, I can still see the water level. Only thing it does is put this black grid there. That's probably a better word than mask. So this will always be here. That is, and you can actually feel it on the tank. It's not smooth. So I mean that is there. It goes all the way down this on either side. And then I cannot really show you because it's almost up against the wall here. But this grid is all the way down the very back of the tank as well. Again, it's supposed to make it to where you cannot see where the water line is. You cannot see the water as well. Personally, I still see it. So, but now the farther back you go, so I'll try to demonstrate here, the less you notice it. I mean, from this far back, especially since it's near the very top of the tank, you don't really notice it too much. So, but it will bother some people. It doesn't bother me whatsoever, though, because again, you don't really look at the very top of the tank usually. Alright, then I will point this out since we're on this side here. This actually has these little cutouts, which is for the wires. That's where the wires are supposed to go. This wire I think is just actually too thick for it, so but what it's supposed to do is put the wire in there and then it lays down flush along there. That way the entire thing sits down, but my wire is apparently a bit too thick for it to do that. And then again, you won't be able to see here, but you kind of notice it has this raised up part here, and it does the same thing for the wire that comes out here. And then again, there's one on that side as well. And again, my wires are just too thick apparently for that to happen. Alright, then since we're at the top of the tank, talk about this. It says Fluval here, and that's actually textured. You can feel that and stuff. It has a feeding hole here, cut out. This is always open, so if you want to, if you don't want this to be open, you will have to add something on top of it yourself. But it comes just like this. Then it has a nub here, which is for the lights. You have to actually have this pretty much pointed somewhat at that for it to work. Point down, it doesn't work. Point to the side, doesn't work. and then that just made a lighter on me. But it has to be somewhat pointed at that. From the side here, it doesn't really work too well, or even pointed down. So it's somewhat annoying, but I mean, again, not really anything too much to bother most people. Alright, then let's go into the tank itself. And here are the LEDs. They are pretty dang bright. They can be dimmed. Then you can sort of see in the middle there, there are the 3 of them. 1, 2, and 3, which are for the colors. I can't really tell from this, but going through the camera, it's harder to tell. Then that is the raised up part for the wires to go through. Alright, then back here it has this part that blocks off the filter compartment from the rest of the tank. So when you are looking at the tank, all you see is the black background. Very cool, very nice, integrated fish tank is what they would call that. Very nice. It has cutouts here, and you won't be able to see these, but it has cutouts all the way down there. Well, sort of see them there. Mine is about halfway covered up with gravel. Those are for the intakes for the filter, of course. So water will comes out here, goes around, then goes into there, yada yada yada. This compartment is usually empty when you get it. I added in a sponge that is from an old tank to help the tank cycle faster, in which it did. Only took about 2 weeks or so for it to filter. Very nice. Then I added in a 50-watt heater, which is what this one is. I cannot remember what brand it is. I think it's just Tetra brand. It keeps it about 78 degrees. Very nice. Middle compartment here is the filter. So you have your sponge. You have sort of blends in, but you have your carbon. And then down there is the biological, or the Biomax. You see this thing is pretty big. And it seems to do a pretty good job from what I can tell so far. And it does go down all the way into the bottom of the tank, so it's very big, which is of course nice. Then this compartment is where the pump is. If you guys want to see the pump itself, I do have a video of just the pump, the way it looks and stuff about the pump on my channel if you want to check that out. But I do not want to discombobulate all of this right now. It's kind of, it gets messy. But it is a pump. It's probably about yay big, about yay tall. It's good sized pump. Again, this tank does 61 gallons per hour. 15-gallon tank, it does 132 gallons per hour. So I'll talk about that a bit more in a moment here. Then I added in one more sponge again, which is just to help the tank cycle faster. It has a nice kind of thick tubing here. And of course, that goes into the output there. Then this actually does screw on, so it doesn't just snap in, but actually screws in, which is quite nice. Kind of cool. Then it has the dual output nozzles there. You can actually adjust either of them independently or together. And then if you want to, for whatever reason, you can snap off these about right here. Then it'll just be a one flow thing, but I don't know why you'd want to do that. Alright, then I wanted to talk about my own thoughts on the filter itself. Again, it does 61 gallons per hour or 132 gallons per hour, depending on if you have the 9 or 15-gallon tank. Now, I cannot speak of the 15-gallon tank personally, because of course I don't have that one. I have the 9-gallon. But for the 9-gallon one, the 61 gallon per hour flow rate cannot be adjusted. There is no way that I could find on the pump itself to adjust it. There is no adjuster on there, so you cannot increase or decrease the flow rate, which is kind of annoying. I had a beta in there that's now in this tank. That was in this tank, and the current was just pushing him around. Caused him to lay around all day. He was actually just laying on the driftwood, and that's all he would do all day until it was feeding time. Then he'd come up for food. After he got food, he'd go back down, just lay on the driftwood. Just because the current is just too strong and has pushed him around, so he could not swim too well. Now he is a bigger finned fish. Right now he's hiding. Otherwise, I'd show you. He is not. He's a half moon beta, so he does have the bigger fins. So that could also cause it. They're not as good as swimmers. Now if you were to get a short-finned fish or beta, such as like a koi beta or a placket beta, they might do better. That's what I actually plan on putting in here once I find a good one. Is one of those and see how they fare. Then I also had at a different point 5 guppies. Again, they were bigger finned guppies. I put them in here for only about a day because they did the same exact thing. I put them in here and they just laid on the bottom most of the day, and then they get up for a little bit of a swim, then they just go right back to the bottom of the tank. Again, current is just too strong. For this size of tank, it's just too strong to not be able to adjust it. So do keep that in mind. I guess my suggestion would be to get something like shrimp, maybe a Mexican dwarf crayfish, otherwise short finned fish that are not going to be pushed around. Then there is the beta. And then he actually got stuck in the filter of this tank as well. Again, I have another video on my tank if you want to see that. I don't really want to talk about it in this video. It's just going to take too long. But his fins are all messed up from that as well. Yeah, so to me, this pump is just a bit too strong for the size of a tank. So be cautious of that. Alright. Then for the rest of this video, I'm going to talk about the lighting and this controller. So if you guys do not want to watch about the lighting and the controller, feel free to leave now. So thanks for watching if you guys are going to leave. Otherwise, let's talk about this lighting here. Alright, so I went ahead and turned off the flash on my camera as well as turned off the light on the tank next to it. Now I do still have my 65-gallon tank's light on, but it's pretty far away, so it does not really affect this too much. Otherwise, it is nighttime, pretty dark room besides for this light and 2 other fish tank lights. That being the other one, which is all the way across the room. A very messy room. Alright, so then let's talk about the lighting here. Alright, so this is just the white LEDs that are on. And if we see here, we have RGB, 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 which is the red, green, blues. You can turn up or down the dimness of them, as well as turn them on or off. And the same goes for the white. Turn on, turn up or down, whatever. Then there are 3 different modes, other modes you can do. This one is supposed to be like nighttime with clouds going across the tank. To me, it does absolutely nothing. To me, it just looks blue. I'll show you that later on here. Then this one is really cool. It is thunderstorms at night. Very cool. Again, I'll show you that later. Then this one just goes throughout, cycles throughout these different colors. And again, I will show you that a bit later here. That's another cool one though. Alright, so let's first talk about these white LEDs. So this is on the top brightness, as I'll show you here. So it cannot get any brighter. Alright, now we're going to dim it. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there are 10 different dimnesses, brightnesses that you can do. And you guys might notice the lighting is kind of going a bit weird. That is just from the camera. It is not from the LEDs themselves. The camera does not like the low light that the lights are producing at the moment. So don't think anything of that weird, I mean, what do you call that, kind of flashing video. If you guys even see it, I don't know. But anyway, that's kind of off track. Alright, then we're going to turn this all the way back up, and then you see that weird flashiness is going to go away. Again, that's just from the camera not liking it. Alright, then let's turn off the whites, and we'll turn on the RGBs. Then we will go through the different colors here. So there are 15 different colors. Show that real fast. There are 15 different colors. 5 underneath each of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Red, green, blue. We will start with red, and I will go down to each of these. Then we'll go green all the way down, blue all the way down. Again, we'll turn off that. So this is just the red. And then, so that's red 1, red 2, Now they're not all actually red. It kind of goes red to orange to yellow. There's number 3 under red. There is 4. And then there is 5, which is just yellow. Then we'll go to green. So there's green. And I should say this, that it does look better in person than it does through the camera, of course. The camera just does not pick up the coloring as nicely as your eyes do. But anyway, there is green 1, green 2, green 3, green 4, and green 5. You can see there's really no difference. There's not much of difference between those. It actually kind of goes almost into blue. Alright, then we have blue 1. Now this actually looks very nice. The red, the actual green, and the actual blue look the best, along of course with white. They all look the best in my opinion. But let's see if I can get rid of that bit of a glare there. Alright, then blue 2, blue 3, which is actually kind of purple, blue 4, and blue 5, which is a kind of a purple pink ending there. Now sadly you cannot mix like the red with the green or red with blue. I wish you could, and I actually thought you could when I bought this tank, but it turns out you cannot. Alright, so then there's that. But what you can do is mix each of those 15 colors along with white. So that's what we'll do here. So now we'll turn on the white along with the red. But as you can see, both these are on the brightest settings of each of them, and green just white just dominates any of the other colors. So then here's with the green, and here's with the blue. See, it just dominates them. So now I will turn down white all the way. So I'll get that weird effect again. Again, that's just from the camera not liking it. So this is with the RGBs up all the way and the whites down all the way, and you can see. So here's with red. I mean, you can sort of see the redness in it, but the white just still dominates it. There's with the green, and there's with the blue. Let's go through the different colors again real quick. And you can see, especially once you get into the lower colors underneath each of the RGBs, you just really cannot even notice them that much at all. So again, the red, the green, and the blue do show through the most, but the white just dominates it, and that's on the lowest setting. So to me that's kind of sad, but hey, what can you do? All right. Now I'm going to turn off the RGBs, and then we will go through these few different here. So we will start this one, which again is supposed to be like clouds going across. So I sit here for a moment, and again, to me this does not change at all. It just looks blue. And what it's supposed to be is as far as I know, it is supposed to get brighter and then darker, then brighter, then darker. It doesn't. I don't know, maybe mine's just messed up. Right now I'm going to do the Thunderstorm. This will give you a bit of a warning here. It will be flashing, so I don't want anyone to like seize out here. I don't want anyone to have seizures, is what I'm trying to say. I am being serious about that, as it does flash. So here goes the flashing. And again, this is the Thunderstorms. Very cool effect. So I think it's about every 10 seconds or so it will do that. It does the same exact flashing, which I wish it would do a little bit different, but what can you do? And then here it is just going through the different cycles, cycling through the different colors, I should say, which is this button down here. Excuse me. So it just goes through the different 15 different colors that I showed you guys. So, yeah. So that is the different lighting on the Fluval Flex. Now I cannot speak for the 15-gallon tank because I do not have that one. Again, this is the 9-gallon tank. Then for this, most of the time people are just going to be using the white and maybe the blue. And for that, it works just fine. The 15 colors, for most part, to me, are kind of disappointing in a way. I mean, they're cool, but they're not as cool as I thought they'd be. And according to Fluval, I actually made a video about this a while back, which I actually took down, but according to Fluval, there's supposed to be 80 plus colors, and the way they got that was by taking each color and then doing its dimness on each one. And again, there are about somewhere around 10 dimnesses, if that is a word, that you can do for each color. So they got over 80 colors according to them just by dimming each color, which to me is kind of stupid, but that's my own opinion on that. Otherwise, I mean, it is cool. You still get 15 different colors, and then you also get white, and you can also combine each of those 15 colors with white, as I showed you guys here, along with the thunderstorm effect and the cloud effect, which again doesn't do anything in my opinion, to my eyes, and then along with the cycling through the different colors. Yeah, so that was a review of the Fluval Flex. Thank you all very, very much for watching. And of course, leave any comments that you have in the comments section below, and I'll be happy to answer them. Alright, thanks guys. See you next time. Goodbye.